Hello and welcome back to Cladd Studios Tutorials. Christian L here, and I'm giving a behind-the-scenes look at Mixcraft 6, which is the audio software that I use to publish to YouTube and master all of my audio mixing. So today we're going to concentrate on audio recording. But at first, if you did not see the introduction tutorial and you need to know where the buttons are in navigating, please click on the video right here in the top, or you can look in the description for the link below. But for now, we're going to concentrate here in audio recording. Now, with audio recording, obviously it's a very important step with audio mixing just because of the fact that it gets your work done really fast. You could take it from certain sources. It gives a nice sense of realistic feel to your recordings. I can get more into that later. First, you have to definitely go up here and go to the preferences and to the recording icon right here. What you want to do, just look through this folder really quickly. Default project folder. Just keep this way. It's not like you have to really look for any specific recordings because they're all going to be in the project anyway, so I just leave this be wherever it navigates you to. Definitely have this checked off. It says delete unused recordings during save. Unless you really need something that sounded pretty bad and you don't want it in your audio recording, then might as well just delete it. I never really keep the stuff that sounds bad. I make sure I have good cuts. Right here, it says audio track default recording mode and instrument track default recording mode. Definitely keep these both on overdub. And there are 3 different types. There's takes, overdub, and replace. I'm going to go over those throughout this tutorial. There are just different types of recording modes, different tricks you can use, and nice, really easy, fast-paced process. But just to really get your work more efficient. Basically, this right here is another way of saying you want to multi-track from one input. And in English, like I'm speaking in a mic right now, and it's on one input on my box. So it depends, like if you want me to duplicate the recording on my box. In this case, I'm going to push yes, or keep the allow duplicate. But in other times, if you have other sources, you don't have to. Right here, keeping an uncompressed WAV file is the best format for audio out there. Don't use OGG unless you really... I've never used it in my life. So I definitely stay away from that. So we're good with the settings. So what you want to do, there's a couple things. So let's say we're on track 1. And I'm just gonna zoom in on the tracks right here. So right here is a nice, really close view of the tracks, as you can see. So we're gonna work with audio track 1. Now, the things you need to know about these tracks. This is obviously a wave track. It's in green, and the MIDI tracks would be in blue. Just as it's a default code for Mixcraft. I mean, you could change the colors, but that's the defaults. So we're in a wave format right now. And what you want to do before any recording is you want to arm your track. As you can see, and now I'm talking through the mic, and you can see the levels right here going up and down when I'm speaking into the mic. So that's for any recording. You do want to check what input source this is coming from. So you'll have your list of inputs, like whatever is plugged in with the USB into the computer. Right now I'm going through a microphone in my audio box VSL, so the left channel, which is the first channel. So this works for my case right now, but usually default, if you don't have anything, it's probably going to put you on this one, which is your computer speakers, which are always built into computers nowadays. I also have Logitech and all these other ones, so just to make sure you know where it's coming from. And I mean, even just to make sure, like, I'll tap the mic and I'm like, all right, so it just got that. So it's the right input. There's 2 things you could do with arming recording. These 2 little icons come up where the other ones, they're not armed and you can't see them. This is a guitar tuner. So let's say you have an instrument track. Let's say you're recording a guitar with a live mic. You can actually tune it through here, which is a cool feature in Mixcraft 6. It wasn't in any other version, so this is a really cool improvement. And right here, monitor incoming audio. So when you push this, it's basically so you can hear yourself talking, making sure that the computer identifies your voice. But it annoys me, so I keep it off when I'm recording. So what's going to happen is I'm going to record now. I'm ready to record. So I'm going to push this button here, or just push R on your keyboard, same thing. And here goes my first one. This is an audio recording of my voice, and you can see the wave files. Okay, so yeah, obviously you can see that I made something right here. When you look at this, you see the sine waves as I was mentioning, that's wave file. Okay, so that's that. Now, one thing I'm going to show you. Now, if you go up to track, this is where you're going to get all of your recording. Oh, sorry about that. This is where you're going to get all of your recording options. We already did monitor track. Arm chord, and you can see it's like the same menu. So just do that from each individual track. Now, recording mode. Overdub is highlighted right now. And with Overdub, what that does, we're going to keep it on Overdub, and I'll show you what happens. Overdub, as you can see, this file right here, I'll just close out of this. What Overdub does is it will take this recording, it will keep it there, and let's say you want to go on the same track once again, it will go underneath it on a different lane, and I'll explain lanes in a minute. So if I start hitting record now, and there is a reason why I slid this over, I'm going to hit it, and I'm going to just start talking, and you see how it just moved below. But you can also hear the first recording above it. I'm not going to play that again because that might sound really ridiculous. But so if I move this over one more time, and let's say I do a third one, it's going to go underneath that one into another lane. So it will keep doing that. It will keep adding lanes until you're done overdubbing. And like you could do, it's cool to do like a chorus effect with that, which is, I've done that in the past. And it's worked with acapella stuff I've been doing recently. So I mean, if you don't like them, you can get rid of the tracks. Now, while I'm on this subject, if you see lanes, obviously you can see that this one audio track has several lanes. If you want to add a lane, think about it this way. You can right click, push lanes, and add, or just push Alt L. So think about like Alt L for lane, and you could do that. Now, this is a really cool trick. If you want to get rid of the lanes that aren't being used, push Alt K. So like kill the lanes, so like K for kill. And there you go. It's only using this one. So, I mean, even if you have multiple ones, I do this like really quickly, and I go back again, and I do this one another really quickly. But then I wanted to add more lanes. It will kill the lanes that aren't being used and keep the ones that are being used right here. So that is overdubbing. Okay, now simply enough, we'll go to the next setting for recording modes, and that's going to be replace. Replace is pretty simple, so if I hit it again, I'm ready and armed. I'm going to make another recording, blah, 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 super blah. Okay, that was pleasant. So you have this audio sample, and honestly, if I just stay on the same track, I push it again, and it's just going to go over this ridiculous recording right here, blah, 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 blah. And there's nothing behind it, so it completely replaced the recording. Okay, now we're going to our third type of recording, and this one's probably the coolest one in my opinion because when I do voiceovers and stuff like that, at least when I did sound design voiceovers, this was a really handy trick to do takes, which is the third one. So we go back to recording mode, we're going to go to takes. And what this does, and there's one thing you have to do with takes. Otherwise, I mean, if you look at it this way, if I zoom out, there's like an unlimited amount of track. I mean, you can't really see the numbers I'm zooming out, but I'm zooming out, and it would go on forever and ever and ever. So you need a loop. I mean, if you take takes, you need a certain amount of time to loop it back and do the take again. And you could do as many takes as you want until you stop the recording. So what you're going to do, and I'm actually going to zoom out for this one because the button is down here. You see this little button says turn on loop mode. So what you're going to do, and it automatically goes to 4 measures worth of loop, which is it's pretty good for this example. I'm going to zoom in right here. So what it is it's loop start and loop end. The loop starts here, by the way, too. So if you don't want it exactly at the beginning, you can move it. But let's say, okay, I'm going to start recording, and it's in take mode, and in a couple of seconds, it's going to change, and right about now. So it muted that other track, so it won't distract you while you're doing the second take again. But you could keep doing it. It keeps adding lanes, different types of audio, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but it will keep going until you push stop. So I'll stop it right now. So I just did like 3.5 takes, which is pretty cool. And it mutes them all, so like you can like mute them by this little button in the side here, or have them here and maybe play them individually. That's basically as simple as that. We're going to get rid of these. Okay, now we're going to go over to instrumental track. Okay, so I put in an instrumental track here for the instrumental purposes. Now this is going to be recording MIDI. Now, there's a difference with this one. Is what happens is you want to go into here to record. You push arm at first, but obviously there's no voice going through. It's going to be the instrument. So what you do, I'm going to move this down here, is let's say, I don't know, I'm going to choose a piano. Why not an acoustic piano? And I go to music typewriter. I'll move this right here. Now this is for keyboard purposes on the computer. You use a little dot. You could do that, or if you do have a MIDI keyboard plugged in, you could just play it by hand. It's probably 10 times easier than doing it, on the keyboard on your computer. But as simple as that. If I wanted to play something, I push record. I use this keyboard right here, and you can see the little lines that just popped up, and there's my recording if I wanted to play back. And you could do that for all the instruments that they offer to you. Honestly, there are tons to go through. I think in another tutorial, or I'll just go through a really quick amount of just the libraries that are offered here. It's really a great variety, in my opinion. Even the WAV files in the library I mentioned in the introduction video, there's thousands of loops to choose from. So it's definitely something to check out. Alright, so we're just about out of time right here. So there's one more thing I want to show you guys, is going to be multi-tracking. And you might ask yourself, can you multi-track in Mixcraft? Of course you can. You can multi-track actually in basically any software out there nowadays. So what I have here, I have 3 tracks recorded, and they're all MIDI tracks and virtual instrument tracks. So it's easy for virtual instrument tracks to be recorded at the same time, especially when there's different instruments. So I have a synth pad here, I have ambient strings, and another octave string, so it's like in bass. So if I wanted to open up one of the keys and watch the levels on all of them, if I hit a note, they all work. So like if I wanted to hit it and wait for this to go down, all right, and I play. It'll play at the same time, and then obviously you can play it back, but you get the idea with that. So let's say I didn't want to do it with those. I can do it also as well with audio. Let's say, if I have more than one mic, I can set it to different mics and play them all at the same time, do the same exact thing. Other than that, that is basically the idea of recording here in Mixcraft. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week for another tutorial.